Welcome back to the Montgomery Companies podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery, and I'm glad that you're here. Today, we've got a solo episode. It's just you and I hanging out, and our aim is to help you go faster, farther in your leadership journey. We value your decision. We want to honor your time. I'm going to give you everything I've got on today's topic of followership. Not leadership, but followership. What do we know about followership? We know that followership is a part of leadership. Actually, following well is a part of leading well, and we never stop following. So whether you're an emerging leader, a veteran leader, maybe you don't even really know about leadership, or maybe you've been leading forever. Wherever today finds you, you should know this. Following well is a part of your deal. It's a part of your job in leading people. In fact, Rich Wilkerson Jr. said this: when you are too big to follow, you are too small to lead. What do we see with a lot of young and emerging leaders? But we see this really with all types of leaders, but we see this definitely with young and emerging leaders. We see leaders who are overexposed and underdeveloped. And typically, if they're overexposed and underdeveloped, it means that they have forgotten that followership is a part of leadership. They've just been leading. They've been speaking and influencing. They've been out front. They've been calling the shots. They've been making the decision, but maybe they stopped getting feedback. Maybe they stopped reading or listening or praying or learning, and they need to get back to following well. We want to talk about what it looks like to follow well. And I just will be fully transparent with you. I'm still learning what it looks like to follow well. There's been seasons of my life where I've been overexposed and underdeveloped. As a leader, I want to be the opposite. I want to be underexposed and overdeveloped, meaning I'm ready for the next opportunity that comes my way. I'm going to bloom where I'm planted. I'm following well. I'm asking questions. I'm observing. I'm reading. I'm listening. I'm praying, and I'm ready for the next opportunity that comes my way in business and in life. A person who follows well does three things well. We're going to talk about these three things. If you want to follow well, I think there's three things that have to happen. There's three things that we see in people who follow well. Number one, they keep an open mind. They're constantly asking questions. They're constantly learning. John Wooden said, "It's what you learn after you know it all that counts." We all love the person with the curious spirit. Make this your mission to break the record in your organization, in your company, for questions asked. Be the most curious person in the room. Keep an open mind. Operate with humility. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. You're seeking first to understand. You're asking questions. You're trying to grow in your awareness of the world around you. I spent time with a high-level CEO recently. He's probably 20 years my senior, very accomplished person. We have a lunch meeting. He comes to that lunch meeting with 10 questions, one after another. He just fired me questions. What do you think of this? What's your perspective here? Could you give me some feedback on this area of my leadership? So here's a guy who's accomplished. He's done a lot. He's a leader. But what does he know? He knows that followership is a part of leadership, and he came with great questions. He also understands the paradox of education. The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. You'll see this in a lot of high-level leaders, impactful leaders of people. They're constantly asking questions. They're trying to grow. They keep a curious spirit. And they remember that when they're too big to follow, they're too small to lead. Number two, people who follow well love people well. They remember that every person they speak to, every person they interact with is a beating and sometimes bleeding heart. They're real people. Maybe you're an emerging leader, and inside your organization, you report to a few people. You've got some senior leaders, and sometimes we forget as emerging leaders that our senior leaders need to be led too. They need to be loved too. They need someone to care for them, support them, encourage them, pray for them. When's the last time you asked a senior leader, somebody who has a position of authority in your life, maybe it's a mentor, a pastor, maybe it's just somebody that you really respect, and you ask them a question like, hey, what could I take off your plate? How could I pray for you? Or maybe it's not a question, but it's just something that you encourage them in. Hey, I just wanted to encourage you in this. You've had a great week, a tremendous year. I just appreciate the way that you do these 2 or 3 things in your leadership. It's making a difference. People who are in a position of authority need to be loved. All people need to be loved. People who follow well realize that every single person they interact with is a beating and sometimes bleeding heart. People who love well are constantly serving and tending to the needs of others. And finally, people who follow well pursue relationships well. They're constantly pursuing people in an effort to learn, grow, and impact others. They're trying to find the new mentor, the new coach, the new teacher, the new friend. It doesn't mean that they abandon their old relationships. It just means that they're constantly trying to expand their circle and grow in wisdom. The average Olympic athlete has 7 different coaches. And many of those coaches change from year to year. They're constantly trying to glean wisdom. They're pursuing people. If we want to grow as leaders, if we want to follow well, we have to pursue relationships well. If you're in a position of trying to pursue a certain mentor, maybe a coach, maybe a teacher, I just want to break down the difference between being coachable and teachable. Many of us think that we're coachable, and actually we're just teachable. There's a difference in being teachable and coachable. If you're teachable, you're concerned with the moment at hand and the content in front of you. So maybe you sit in a seminar or you go to an event and you take notes and you listen. You're involved in the moment and you're really caught up in the content, but it stops there. That's the spirit of a teachable person. If you're a coachable person, you're not just concerned with the moment and the content, you're also concerned with the future and the relationship. It's the moment, the content, the future, and the relationship. Here's what you're thinking about. I got to go chase that person down. I got to go learn more from them. I got to go get time with them. I need to get in their world, involved in their space, so maybe I could learn some more. We're going to talk about how to do that well in a future episode, but there is a difference between being coachable and teachable. Cannot wait to release that solo episode, The Art of Coachability. But remember this, people who follow well pursue relationships well. They love people well, and they keep an open mind. Leading well starts with following well. Wherever today finds you, you're a veteran leader, an emerging leader. Following is a part of your leadership journey. And if you're too big to follow, you're too small to lead. Cheers to following, my friends. I hope you continue to ask questions and you keep an open mind. I hope you love people like crazy, remembering that every single person you interact with is a beating and sometimes bleeding heart. Your leaders need to be loved, they need to be cared for, and they need to be supported. And finally, I hope you pursue relationships well. I hope you continue to expand your circle, learn new ways of doing things from new relationships in your life, that you constantly push the envelope of coaches, teachers, and leaders that are a part of your world. It's been awesome hanging out with you. I hope that this solo episode has impacted you. I hope that you've taken at least one thing that you're going to implement from today's conversation. Excited to have you back with us soon. And again, thanks for listening. If we've added any kind of value, I'd love if you'd subscribe to our podcast or share this episode with somebody else in an effort to move our mission of impact forward. I also want to give a shout out and say thanks to our producers, John Choate and James Roth of Storyline Multimedia. Thanks for all of the hard work that you guys do behind the scenes to make these episodes go. Listeners, until next time, be well, be great, and have an awesome day.